everyone, and welcome back to Tutorials of Tone. My name is Alex. Thank you so much for watching this video. What we have up next is a request from an OmniPack buyer, Randy. Thank you so much for requesting this and allowing me to add this into the Rock Pack and the OmniPack as well. This is Dr. Feelgood by Mötley Crüe, rocking those Marshall tones and allowing us to get a one whole step down drop tune within our favorite Fractal device, whether you're on the FM3, the FM9, or the Axe FX3. We also have a really fun ambient delay section for that intro with a big dual delay thing. We're going to dive into all of that. Let's check out this preset. So first up, we have our input block. As always, everything is at stock settings except negative 47.5 dB of the threshold of the gate. That's where I like having it for my guitars, the noise to note ratio. And I'm using a Paul Reed Smith SE Custom 24 with a Floyd on this one. We are also using the bridge humbucker throughout the entire tune. Up next, we have our pitch block. Very, very important. If you're normally playing in standard tuning, someone calls a Crüe tune, they're tuned to D standard most of the time. So it's nice to have this available at the front of your chain. As you can see, we are at -2 for our shift, so we are down one whole step. Our detector source is set to input 1 with smooth pitch tracking as we're playing a lot of chords. The tracking is dimed. You can mess around with this. If you want less latency, you can take that out a little bit, but the tracking, I always like more is more, right? Input gain and mix are set to 100% each. If you're drop tuning, there is no other way. Our level is set to unity. We've got a bit of a low cut on this to compensate for the extra low end of down tuning. We're at 100 Hertz on a low cut, nothing to speak of for the high cut. If you're already tuned to D standard, or perhaps you're playing this in the E standard for one reason or another, you can turn off the pitch block by holding FC1 on any of your devices. This bypasses the pitch block and with scene ignore allows us to switch scenes without that re-engaging and changing the tuning of our guitar between solo, rhythm, and the ambient leads. To re-engage, you just hold it again and you're good to go. For our amp, we're using a Brit 800 mod. That's what they used on the original recording. Pretty standard settings here, rolling down the bass a bit, mids and trebles bumped, a little bit of that presence control, and then for this song I have the bright switch engaged, as I do with my Marshalls, but a little bit of depth to add some low end back at the power amp section, or just before it. Our gain is at 5. The Brit 800 mod has quite a bit of gain to spare. We have a 60 Hz low cut on the amp and an 8500 Hz high cut. Again, that all sounds like this. Rock and roll. We are running into a 4x12 1960B Marshall cab with V30s. This is what they used for the recording, so I figured, again, one in Rome. If you want a little bit more brightness and attack, there is a 4x12 1960A with a 57 cued in. You can bring that in for a little bit of extra attack. So let's compare those two tones. We have just the 1960B. And when we engage our 4x12 1960A, roll back 2.5 dB. A little bit more brightness to combine in with that bottom end. So, mixed to taste, I personally had it muted for this preset. Our cab has a 60 Hz low cut and a 10K high cut. Narrow the bandwidth, stay alive in the mix. We're running in parallel to a medium hall reverb, give us that nice stadium rock tone. Everything is pretty stock here, except our level is turned down negative 17.5 dB. For our ambient lead tone, we have a dual delay set up to a quarter note in the left and an eighth note in the right. Really makes it sound like you're just this giant wall of sound and just pumping through mains in an arena. The whole Mötley Crüe thing. Very cool. Everything else, pretty stock. I turned the feedback up on either channel just to give it a little bit more of that delay thing. And we are at negative 10 dB on this channel. Very, very powerful stuff. As you can see, we have a bit of a modifier here on our input gain. Our source 1 is set to pedal 1, an expression pedal, and it only functions when we're on channel B. So our ambient leads are set to channel A, the dual delay. We'll switch over to the solo scene for the mid-song solo, and we have a digital stereo delay at a quarter note. You can bring that in or out as much as you'd like using the expression pedal, and that's why our level is up to negative 7.5 dB. Gives you room to grow or to dial it back to your liking. If you just want a set delay, not worrying about it, or no delay at all, you can change this at your leisure. We do have the song BPM set to 111. That's what they use to record the track, but FC3 does have a tap tempo switch, so if the drummer counts it a bit fast or a bit behind that, really wants to groove on that main riff, you have an option to tap in the tempo of your choosing. And at the end of our chain, we do have a 2 dB boost set up with the filter block, as opposed to the standard lead boosting technique of 3 dB. As our amp block, when we switch over to our lead sounds, whether it's the solo or the ambient leads, engages the input boost. This is at a stock neutral boost with the stock setting of 12 dB, as we heard in the intro. Really gives us a little kick and really helps us get that sustain, that saturation, and feedback when we're playing those ambient leads in the intro. Well, that about does it for this video and this preset. If you liked these, you can check out more throughout the channel with tutorials of tone, Fractal 101s, gear reviews, playthroughs, etc. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next time.